Hey, welcome back to the Zephyr Wellness YouTube channel. Thank you so much for downloading our content and listening to what I have to say. It's always humbling when people listen to what I have to say because I'm just some dude talking into a microphone in the basement of his house. Today, I want to bring to you some insight and possibly some wisdom in how to deal with what's going on across the globe. Now, for context, this is March 31, 2020, and I rarely date my videos because I think the content should be evergreen. I don't think any less of this content, but I think it deserves the respect that it's due because of the context. So the other day, a friend of mine who happens to be a therapist came up to me and he said, "Hey, how are you doing with all this?" And tongue-in-cheek, I said to him, "Doing with what?" And he understood what I was saying, and he indulged me, and he said, you know, the virus and the quarantine and all that stuff. And he was legitimately asking. Now he and I text every day. This is not a surprise to him. He's not asking out of ignorance. He's asking as a human being to a good brotherly friend, how am I doing? And he was checking in on me. My answer was poorly. I'm dealing with this poorly. And I think that was we know each other pretty well. He and I go back a number of years, and we can be vulnerable and raw with each other. And I'm sharing this with you, the listening audience, because I think it's important that you know that it's okay to be not okay. We are vulnerable and we are raw. Whether or not we want our cognitive intellect to allow that is up to us. We've practiced a lot, some of us, the ability to deny and suppress a lot of vulnerable emotional experiences. I've said repeatedly on my podcast, Noggin Notes, and on this channel also, that that's not healthy. We don't want to stuff things down. It creates physiological problems when we don't allow our neurochemicals to flow. But in this particular instance, I think it's worth highlighting that most of us don't know what we're doing. We're going through something that no one has ever seen in multiple lifetimes on this planet. We don't have a roadmap. And my friend's asking of me was specifically pointed to my family because my mom struggles with chronic health ailments, and my wife works as a nurse in a hospital where she's been instructed to make her mask, which is designed to last for 8 hours, to last for 3 months. And that's not an exaggeration. That's a literal order from the hospital, and her hospital is not unique. This is national across the United States. It's a big problem. And on top of that, we have death, and we have suffering, and we have vulnerable populations, and then we have children who don't get to go play with their friends and don't get to engage in school, and then parents who don't get to work and who have to teach their kids while they're not working, and sometimes that's a benefit and sometimes it's not, and it's all sucky. And there's no other way to put it. It sucks. This is terrible, and nobody wants to go through it, and yet we have to. And that's the point of this video, is not to tell you how bad things are, but to give you some hope that on the other side of the suck is redemption. There's peace, there's liberation. The problem is we're in the suck right now, and there's not a lot we can do about it. Sure, there's a list of bulleted activities that Zephyr Wellness has put together for you at zephyrwellness.org. You can check out what our employees have to offer in terms of specifics that you can do to adjust your lifestyle and activities you can do and mental habits you can form. Those are great. In the meantime, you still got to ride through the suck. And that was what my friend and I discussed was the fact that there's not a lot we can do. And we as Westerners, as Americans, we're not comfortable with letting go and being uncertain and embracing mystery and not knowing the outcome. We like predictability. We like our science. We like forecasts and we like guarantees on the backs of boxes to let us know exactly what's going to happen if something doesn't go the way we want it. And this is not one of those times. We're not well rehearsed in letting go and trusting. So inevitably the conversation veered towards spirituality and knowing how to embrace mystery and all those things. And that's critical. Finding peace within a storm that may not be just a day long, but maybe an entire season or multiple seasons long, is very, very tricky when you haven't practiced it. It's okay to be not okay. I'm a licensed therapist in the state of Nevada. I'm a national certified counselor. Those are tags and titles that are bestowed upon me because I hit what most people consider a minimum level of competence. People come to me and people of my ilk to seek wisdom and counsel and feedback as though I have some mastery. Even though I have a master's degree, I don't have mastery. But it's as though I have mastery of the subject matter, and I don't. I'm still learning like everybody else. So if I'm struggling, and you're struggling, my friend's struggling, how do we all make it through? Maybe the answer is just that we hang together and then we endure it, and there is no solution. There is no magic bean. I know they're working on a vaccine, and it's March of 2020. Great, it's the tail end of March, but it's still March of 2020. We may not have that vaccine until August of 2021. So what do we do in the meantime? We lean on each other, we provide for each other, and we find peace in different things other than what we were distracted by before. We center ourselves, we find solace in solitude, we hang together, we become interdependent, not dependent or independent. And we find out what it really means to be human beings among each other. We stop tearing each other down, we stop political warfare, and we just do what's right. Now, I don't know much about your life. I barely know my own life. All I do is make best decisions that I can with the information I have at the time I have it, and then I move forward with more information. That's all we can do. In the meantime, the suck is going to swirl around us, and it's okay, because there's one thing I know about suck. It's universal, and it's everlasting. The suck will pass. All things are temporary. Steal that from my friend Christian Conti, who's a big mentor of mine. Everything is temporary. Everything will pass. How you endure it is up to you. You can anxietize about finding an answer and still not have an answer, or you can make peace that the answer will come on its own time. I really hope you found this informational or at least helpful, and if not, delete it and never look at it again. If it did help you in some way, please pass it along to a friend. This information doesn't do any good locked up in my head or on this particular channel. It needs to be shared. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And from the bottom of my heart, I wish you great mental wellness. Be safe. Be hygienic.